All right, we are live, day 366. Let me check my audio to make sure it's working. 1 second, everybody. Okay, I think it's working. Cool. All right, not muted. Excellent. So today we're looking at 35208. I was just browsing for properties that were on 4-bedroom. I was looking for properties for time less than 7 days. And I'll pop this property so I know it's relatively new. This is 2904 Pike Road, Birmingham, Alabama 35208. Now, as I go through these photos, I would say this property is relatively turnkey. I mean, paint looks fine, flooring looks fine. Definitely don't need any flooring. I think it's pretty good. 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms. Okay, 4 official bedrooms. There you go. Super easy, super straightforward. So let's go ahead and analyze this deal. The first thing you will want is to get the HUD FMR. FMR stands for fair market rents. And you can find this first by looking up the county on Redfin. So when I do a control find search on county, it pops it right up. So then I'm going to Google HUD FMR. FMR stands for fair market rents. Go to the link, go to the bottom link, access smart area FMRs, look up FY 2025, smart FMRs, click on Alabama, click on the county. Now I'm going to get by bedroom count, by zip code, what my rent ceiling is. Then you see the 3528, 1420, and 1580. 1580 is your rent ceiling for a 4-bed. 1580, 1420, and is 35208. 35208. All right. Copy and paste this just so my partners already know how I analyze deals. So this just makes it a little bit easier for them. And then after I get my rent ceiling, I have to compare that with my market rent. Okay. And the reason I'm comparing that with my market rent that I'm getting from affordablehousing.com, owner section, market rent estimate, address, bedroom count is right here. You see that the average rent for 25 units within a 1.87 mile radius is 1313. 1313. 1921 is this one. 1342. And 1352. This is 1921. Great. Now, I have to use the lower of the two when I compare the 1580 against the 1313 because of the rent reasonableness test. Now, the 1580, right, that is a ceiling rent. That also includes utilities. So if you don't cover utilities with your rent, what you're going to have to do is deduct the utility allowances by asset type, meaning there's a certain number that the housing authority will give you a stipend for electric, for water, for sewer, depending on how many bedrooms your property is and what type of home is it, depending on single family versus apartments. So you have to deduct that from it. So in this scenario at 1313, we're going to use 1313 because of the rent reasonableness test, and I'm going to pull up the exact language for you all, right? Because that's more reasonable rent. If you look at the housing choice voucher or the Section 8 voucher program, right, and you go to Section 2.2, well, in here, it says that in conducting rent reasonableness, the PHA must determine whether the rent to the owner is a reasonable rent in comparison to rent for other comparable unassisted units. So in determining comparability, obviously these type of factors matter, like size and unit type, but you don't see 4-bedroom single families get built that often. So I'm assuming that these 4-bedroom homes are going to be precisely related to these 25 units. And that's how you get your market rent. So 1313. So in B16, I'm going to use 1300 as my market rent for my rent assumptions. For my listing price, I'm going to do 159,900, 159,900, which was listed for. For my rehab calculator, I'm going to set aside $1,500 in G1. The row 6 for $1,500 for roof in case there's any issues with the roof that I can't see from the photos. I got about $500 for landscaping here in row 46. I got painting for about, I want to say 500 square feet that needs to get painted, just in case there's any touch-up paint that needs to take place, but probably could be lower. So that's about $3 a square foot at $1,500. Yeah, 2 toilets I want to replace with high pressure flush toilets. That's my personal preference, but I haven't had any clogged toilet calls with these high pressure flush toilets. So that gives me total rehab number with contingencies at 5280. So that 5280 rolls into this number right here in B6. And now for my taxes, I'm going to get that right from this page. And it says $62 for property taxes. So I'm going to put $62 right here. And for my monthly insurance, it's going to equals 124. So that equals 124. And I'm going to multiply it by 1.2. Right? That multiplied by 1.2 gives me a 20% premium to this estimate, because I'm assuming they were estimating insurance as if the property is going to be sold as a primary residence buyer. But if you use it as an investment property, typically insurance companies view this as a riskier asset. So that's why I'm multiplying by 1.2 to account for the additional premium, because the insurance company is going to view this property as a riskier type of home to insure because it's an investment property. All right. So then I got 10% for my maintenance. So this is money I set aside every single month for a future repair or maintenance, like landscaping. This is money that doesn't belong to you, right? I just got a bill for a roof repair at Scottsdale Properties for about 15 grand. I got bill a couple of weeks ago for $3,500 just for repairing the parts on the air conditioner. So that's weird, right? So I'm going to put all this stuff here. 10% for property management. So this money doesn't belong to you. Make sure you set aside. Then I got set aside 10% for property management. I got 5% for vacancy expenses, because some months that room is going to be empty. So you can't assume you're going to get all that rent back. So using these amounts, right? Let's go to our financing amounts. So in F19, I'm going to put 25% down. For my cash to seller is going to equals to my B4 multiplied by my down payment percentage of 25%. At 2.5% for closing costs, $5,300 for my renovations. For my financing amount, I'm going to assume I'm using B4, my asking price, minus my down payment amount in E19, and that's going to make it equals to 120 grand that I'm financing. I'm going to use a 7.5% interest rate right now for my rentals, for my financing assumptions. And based off of that, if I rent this out property for $1,300, I'd be negative cash flow $74 a month on this deal, assuming I bought this property for $159,900 with a 20% down payment and a $5 grand rehab, roughly. Okay, 7.5. Now, obviously, this is not an investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on this call. Simply showing you all the work I do every single day to put in the reps and understand what makes this a deal. So in B4, if I lower my asking price in B4, what does that equal to? What effect does it have on my cash and cash return? Let's say my target is 10%. And I'm not saying 10% is the target everybody needs to meet. I'm just using it as a number right now. You lower to 100 grand, well, that's 8.8%. Well, what if I go to 95 grand? Okay, so now it's a deal at 95 grand, assuming everything else stayed constant, right? At 7.5%, $1,300 rent, $266 of cash flow now, and now my cash and cash return is 10.2%. Okay. Now, might this person accept 160 when they wanted, when you are offering 95 when they wanted 160? Probably not. But at least you know what will make this a deal, right? Now, let's say interest rates go down by a whole point to 6.5%, right? Or maybe you have a W-2 income that allows you to use your W-2 income to qualify for the loan instead of using the assets rent to qualify for the loan. Well, 6.5%, all of a sudden you just jumped up by 2%, right? To 12%. So now you can afford to pay a little bit more for the property, because if you bought this property for 100 grand or 102, it's still a deal at 10%, right? So because your interest rate dropped by a whole percentage point from 7.5 to 6.5, guess what? You are now able to pay $102,000 for the same property because of the market rate difference in the interest rate, because of what happened in the market with interest rates coming down. Now, you can argue that some of your biggest moves in interest rates already happened, right? Because historically, you can see that the interest rates for a 30-year mortgage is typically around 1.5 to 2% difference between the 10-year treasury bond yield. In the past years, we've seen that spread go as high as 3%. So that's come down a full point. You also had the Federal Reserve coming down by almost a full point, and the Federal Reserve just cut by half a point, and you saw the 10-year yield drop by almost a full point since its recent highs of like 5% last year. So some of your biggest moves in interest already happened, right? So I would say if you can get interest rate right now for 6.5%, you probably won't go that much lower or materially in the near future. So the whole point of this exercise was just simply for you to figure out, hey, what price or set of terms might make this property a deal. Obviously, this spreadsheet doesn't account for execution risk, right? What if your contractor doesn't show up, doesn't do the work that they said they were going to do, right? What happens then? Well, in that scenario, your holding costs would go up, right? So you have to understand everything we put on the spreadsheet is just an assumption. You have to understand the rationale for why you're putting a number somewhere, okay? Like just like the rents, you can't just take the FMR, right? That's the rent ceiling. You have to use the rent reasonableness test. And now you have to understand that you have to take the lower of the rent of the two, right? Don't overestimate your profitability because you underestimated your expenses or overestimate your revenue. Don't be that person. So my hope is that you copy my homework today, right? You go to affordablehousing.io. You guys want to copy the spreadsheet? I didn't make the spreadsheet from scratch. I got it from a few other folks. I tweaked it and I modified it. I combined it so that I can analyze these deals a lot faster. You plug in your name, your email, your phone number. That's the fastest way for you to get a copy of the spreadsheet. Okay? And from that point onwards, I hope you copy my homework. I hope you analyze the same deal I analyzed today using the same spreadsheet, right? This property came on the market just 2 days ago, so you know it's fresh and new. And use the same spreadsheet. And I hope you put it on your own YouTube channel. Because guess what? At that point in time, you're going to realize that you know what you're doing because you put in the work. And if somebody ever asks you, hey, why do you think this is a deal? You can go tell them, hey, I looked at deals for the past 366 days and I know they were all not deals. Might that give you a little bit more confidence that you know what you're doing? Might it give your partners more confidence? I certainly hope so. So I hope you all have an amazing Monday. I hope you all spend some quality time with your family and friends today because that's what life is all about. All right. I hope you have an amazing day. I'll talk to you all tomorrow for day 367. And we're going to start changing up the format because I think for the past year, I've gone live every single day. And there's a saying, if you spend like 18 minutes a day on the same thing for a year, you will be better at that skill or that thing than 95% of America. And I can confidently say now that I know how to analyze deals better than 95%. Again, not investment advice. Kyle, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that comment, Kyle. I'm so glad it was helpful. You have no idea how much that means. But thank you so much, man. Sometimes it's a little lonely when I do this stuff and I don't get feedback, but you have no idea how much that means. Kyle, make sure you message me on Instagram at @MMSwithKenHe. I want to talk to you. I really just want to understand your goals. I have nothing to sell you. I have nothing to pitch you. I just want to see and get more feedback from you about how I can explain things better, how I can help more people. And I really hope you copy my homework, Kyle. I really hope you create your own channel. I'll be the first one to subscribe if I haven't subscribed already. So keep me updated on your journey, man. I really appreciate it. And I can't thank you all enough. I think going forward, my goal is to underwrite 2 to 3 deals a week, not every day, but I want to spend the other 3 to 4 days just covering a different topic. Maybe it's a podcast I listen to or a concept I listen to. Maybe that can give you all a little bit different flavor into the world of real estate investing besides just analyzing deals. If you want to look at more deals, I literally have on my live part on my YouTube channel 366 days of me analyzing deals. And you can copy all of them. Because if you just copy my homework, you too can have a YouTube channel with 366 videos of you analyzing deals. And that would definitely give you confidence that you know what you're doing. So I want to start covering other topics. I want to cover multifamily. I want to cover what I'm learning with all of you so that we can spread out the diversity of information for the Affordable Housing Mission, for the podcast. And that's it. I hope you all have an amazing Monday. I'll talk to you all tomorrow for day 367 of going live in a row. Have a good one, everybody.